Do you have a story about earning or losing a parent's love? It's hard for me to put into words the immense sadness that engulfs me as I recount the story of losing my toxic mother's love. Growing up, I always yearned for the nurturing, unconditional love that a mother is supposed to provide. Instead, I found myself trapped in a cycle of emotional manipulation, cruelty, and constant disappointment. From an early age, I realized that my mother was not like other mothers. She would oscillate between bouts of affection and cold indifference, leaving me in a state of confusion and despair. Her love was conditional, contingent upon my compliance with her unrealistic expectations. The weight of her disapproval was suffocating, leaving me constantly feeling unworthy and unlovable. Her words were like daggers, piercing deep into my vulnerable soul. She would belittle and criticize me relentlessly, shattering my self-esteem bit by bit. No matter how hard I tried to please her, it was never enough. I was never enough. It seemed that no matter what I did, I couldn't earn her love. As I grew older, I realized that my mother's toxicity extended beyond her words. She was controlling and manipulative, using guilt as a weapon to bend me to her will. Every decision I made was met with scorn and disdain, leaving me feeling trapped and helpless. But it was an impossible task. The more I tried to please her, the more she pushed me away. It was an endless cycle of pain and rejection. But one day, I reached my breaking point. I realized that I couldn't continue to subject myself to this toxic dynamic. I needed to break free and find love and acceptance within myself. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was necessary for my own mental and emotional health. I tried to let go of my toxic mother's love, as that was an arduous journey. It involved tears, therapy, and a lot of self-reflection, but I couldn't do it. The constant psychological torment eroded my sense of self, leaving behind only a hollow shell, but I still hoped for a loving relationship with her. Yet, it was a single, pivotal event that shattered the last remnants of hope for a healthy relationship with my mother. The incident unfolded like a scene from a tragic play, forever etching itself into my consciousness. In a moment of vulnerability, I mustered the courage to confide in her, bearing my deepest fears and insecurities. But instead of the comfort and understanding I craved, she seized the opportunity to exploit my vulnerability, weaponizing my vulnerabilities against me. The sheer betrayal I felt that day was unbearable. It was the final straw that snapped the frayed thread connecting us. In that heartbreaking moment, I realized that I could no longer subject myself to the toxicity that defined our relationship. With a wicked grin, she seized upon my vulnerabilities, exploiting them with calculated precision. The depths of her cruelty became painfully clear as she reveled in my anguish. In that moment, the last flicker of hope was extinguished within me. The shards of my shattered heart could no longer bear the weight of her toxic presence. The decision to sever ties with my own mother was excruciating, but necessary for my survival. I vowed to reclaim my life, to find healing and love beyond the reach of her destructive grasp. The path of healing has been treacherous, fraught with darkness and despair. I've sought solace in therapy, navigating the labyrinth of trauma with the help of compassionate professionals. Their guidance has been a lifeline, illuminating a path towards self-discovery and self-love. 12 years have passed since I bravely cut ties with my toxic mother, and as I reflect on the path I've traveled, a profound sense of joy envelopes my heart. Following the liberation from my mother's toxicity, I immersed myself in the profound work of healing and self-discovery. Embracing therapy, I peeled back the layers of pain, slowly mending the fragments of my wounded spirit. Over the span of 12 years, time became both an ally and a mentor, shaping my newfound destiny. Love, the most transformative of gifts, found its way into my life in the most unexpected manner. I met a remarkable man, whose heart resonated with compassion and understanding. Together, we built a partnership founded on trust, respect, and unwavering support. In a twist of irony, the love I now experience extends beyond our bond. I have become a cherished stepmother to his children, filling their lives with the nurturing love I yearned for in my own tumultuous childhood. Through patience and understanding, I guide them with tenderness, offering them the stability and security that was once denied to me. Through the trials and triumphs of my journey, I have discovered the true meaning of redemption. The scars that once marred my spirit have become symbols of strength, reminding me of the resilience of the human soul. To those who walk a similar path, I offer a glimmer of hope. Though the wounds of a toxic upbringing may run deep, know that healing and transformation are possible. Seek the support you need, surround yourself with love and understanding, and never doubt your worthiness of a life filled with joy and fulfillment.
I finally earned the love of my drug-addicted father, but it was too late.
Hey, fellow Redditors. Today, I want to share a gripping and deeply personal story that has shaped my life until this very moment. Get ready for a tale of heartache, darkness, and the extraordinary lengths I was willing to go. My story revolves around the unrelenting pursuit of my father's affection, a man consumed by the devastating grip of methamphetamine addiction. From an early age, I longed for my father's attention, approval, and most of all, his love. Our journey into the depths of darkness involved engaging in a series of illicit activities. I became entangled in a web of deceit, manipulation, and criminality, all in the name of earning my father's affection. Together, we ventured into a life of drug-related crimes, fueling his addiction and satisfying our insatiable hunger for the drug that had ensnared us both. Methamphetamine, commonly known as meth, served as the catalyst for our turbulent relationship. It held my father captive, chaining him to a world of relentless cravings and destructive behavior. In my desperate attempt to connect with him, I willingly immersed myself in the dangerous world of meth. I participated in drug deals, facilitated distribution, and compromised my own principles to feed my father's addiction. But as the saying goes, you can't make someone love you. Eventually, the day arrived when I seemingly succeeded in winning my father's love, or so I thought. He showered me with attention, embracing me as his partner in crime. In that moment, I believed I had accomplished what I set out to do, ignorant of the harsh realities that lay ahead. It was an artificial connection, fueled by methamphetamine, which only deepened the void within me. The sacrifices I had made, the crimes we had committed, they proved fruitless in the face of this heartbreaking truth. This painful awakening served as a catalyst for change. I made the agonizing decision to sever ties with the underworld that had consumed our lives. I resolved to rebuild my shattered identity, seeking redemption and a life free from the clutches of methamphetamine. Looking back, I now understand that genuine love cannot be won through illicit means or desperate acts. Love should be freely given, devoid of the destructive forces that addiction wields. It took me far too long to comprehend this fundamental truth, but the lessons I learned along the way have shaped me into the person I am today.
Unveiling the daughter's trauma shatters a mother-daughter bond.
Growing up, my mother and I shared an unbreakable bond. We laughed, we cried, and we faced life's challenges together. But everything changed in an instant, forever altering the course of our relationship. Before I reveal what had happened that shattered our bond, I want to take you back a few years back for what laid the foundation for the pain that followed. It was a beautiful summer day, and our family decided to go on a much-anticipated beach vacation. The sun kissed our skin as we built sandcastles, splashed in the waves, and created memories that should have lasted a lifetime. Amidst the joyous moments, my mother's attention seemed to drift. She was often on her phone, distant and preoccupied. I brushed it off initially, thinking it was just the stress of everyday life catching up with her. As the days went by, her distraction became more pronounced. She would disappear for hours, leaving me and my siblings to wonder where she had gone. The feeling of abandonment began to settle within me, a seed of doubt that grew with each passing day. One evening, I decided to follow her discreetly. My heart pounded in my chest as I trailed behind her, trying to make sense of her mysterious actions. I watched as she entered a hotel, her demeanor tense and secretive. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw her embrace a man who was not my father. The shock of the moment hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt betrayed, confused, and overwhelmed by a mix of emotions. Unable to contain my anguish any longer, I confronted my mother about what I had witnessed. Tears streamed down my face as I pleaded for answers, desperate to understand why she had strayed from our family. Her reaction was a painful blow. She denied everything, accusing me of fabricating stories and trying to sabotage her happiness. The love and trust that once defined our relationship crumbled in an instant, replaced by a void of disbelief and resentment. My mother's infidelity set the stage for the ultimate revelation that would shake our family to its core. Finally, the day arrived when I mustered the courage to reveal the true source of my pain. We sat in the living room, the air thick with tension. With trembling hands and tears welling in my eyes, I confessed the unspeakable truth. A couple of years back, on a cold winter evening when a close family friend, Uncle Mark, came to visit. Uncle Mark was always jovial and kind-hearted, and I looked forward to his visits. On that fateful night, however, something unimaginable happened. As the evening progressed, Uncle Mark's behavior took a dark turn. He began to make inappropriate comments, and his touches grew increasingly invasive. Fear gripped my heart, but I was paralyzed by shock and disbelief. It was as if time stood still, and I became trapped in a nightmare. I managed to escape the room, my heart pounding in my chest, and tears streaming down my face. The weight of the traumatic experience bore down on me, and I felt a deep sense of shame and confusion. Months passed, and I carried the burden of my secret in silence. The weight became too heavy to bear, and I mustered the courage to share my truth with my mother. We moved to my parents' bedroom, the air thick with tension. With trembling hands and a voice laced with vulnerability, I revealed the unspeakable truth: I had been sexually assaulted by Uncle Mark. The room fell into an eerie silence as the weight of my words settled between us. What happened next shattered my soul. Instead of wrapping me in her arms and offering comfort, my mother's face contorted with disbelief. She accused me of lying, of tarnishing the family's reputation. The love and trust that once defined our relationship crumbled in an instant, replaced by denial and anger. Haunted by the loss of my mother's love and the weight of her disbelief, I couldn't bear to carry this burden alone any longer. With a heavy heart, I sought solace in the only person left to confide in: my father. The day of reckoning arrived, and with trepidation, I sat my father down, tears cascading down my cheeks as I unveiled the truth. The room seemed to freeze as his eyes widened in disbelief, his jaw dropping in shock. The weight of my words hung heavy in the air, as the truth slowly seeped into his consciousness, dismantling the illusions he had held dear. My father's face contorted with a mix of pain, anger, and disbelief. The room crackled with an intensity that mirrored the shattered fragments of our family's once idyllic life. In that moment, the silence spoke volumes, as each of us grappled with the harsh reality before us. Unable to contain his rage, my father erupted like a dormant volcano, his anger spewing forth in a torrent of emotions. Driven by a deep-rooted rage, my father first confronted Uncle Mark, the perpetrator responsible for the unspeakable act committed against me. Their encounter was heated, fraught with emotions that had simmered beneath the surface for far too long. In that moment, my father's anger got the better of him, and he lashed out in a fit of fury. I want to emphasize that violence is never an acceptable solution to any problem. However, in the heat of the moment, my father's emotions got the better of him, and he resorted to physical aggression against Uncle Mark. He beat Uncle Mark so badly that my mom and I had to call the police to get my dad off Uncle Mark. The chaotic scene was a culmination of years of pain, betrayal, and a fierce instinct to protect his daughter. The confrontation between my father and Uncle Mark left both men battered, both physically and emotionally. It was a stark reminder of the depth of pain and anger that can consume someone in the face of such profound betrayal. In the aftermath of these events, my parents' relationship reached its breaking point. The revelation of my assault, combined with the exposure of my mother's infidelity, created a toxic environment that became irreparable. The fractures in their marriage grew wider, leaving little room for reconciliation. Faced with the weight of their individual pain and the betrayal they felt, my parents made the difficult decision to divorce. It was a painful acknowledgement that their once united front had crumbled, unable to withstand the immense strain and trauma that had befallen our family. While my father's initial reaction was fueled by anger and a thirst for retribution, he eventually came to realize the importance of seeking healthier outlets for his emotions. Through therapy and counseling, he channeled his energy towards personal growth and healing. He worked tirelessly to rebuild his relationship with me and to become the steadfast, supportive father I needed during my journey of healing. I know I'm not supposed to, but I can't help but feel guilty for the pain I have caused my father and the rest of my family. Very deep down, sometimes I wish I would have kept my mouth shut and not confronted my mother about her infidelity. At least I know that way we can still be the big happy family I remembered us being when I was a kid.
How did you like the video? Please remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this one.